Mm.
All right. We are back with the BassmastHER podcast. Of course, we have Kristine Fischer here. Kristine, how you been?
I've been good, Maggie, Joe. Been really good. Excited to chat with you and catch up and talk all things fishing today.
Yeah, admittedly, that's what I was most excited for. We haven't chatted in a while, so it's always fun to see what you're up to, and I get to see your beautiful face while we do it versus just a text and two ships passing in the night.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to?
Well, a little bit of everything. My schedule is always insanity. I've been in goodness, probably 10 different states in the last couple months, been fishing all over, been doing a lot of projects and stuff for work with sponsors. I had a really cool media event up on Lake Champlain with Pure Fishing, or I got to hang out with all the MLF guys and we had an awesome time with some of the new baits. And then I did some fun fishing up at the Finger Lakes. It was kind of my first, what I would consider kind of little mini vacation of the year. So that was really awesome. And now I'm back in Tennessee for a couple days. I actually get to be kind of in my home area, which is really rare for me, but that's short-lived. I'm heading to ICAST here in a couple days. And then I've got my last two Bassmaster Opens. I got two kayak tournaments on the Susquehanna, and then I'm headed over to Wisconsin for our last Elite Series Bassmaster seminar. That's it.
I'm really looking forward to that one
Me
in my
too.
neck of the woods. And I know
Yes,
you love coming up north.
I do. And I feel like Wisconsin, Minnesota, I have so many, there's so many gals that I have grown so close with in that neck of the woods. And there's so many, I feel like the fishing scene there for women is so big, like almost honestly bigger than, and even down south. So I'm really excited. I think that's going to be our biggest turnout.
Yeah, I think a lot of people associate bass tournaments and whatnot with down south, but we have like a really strong network of ladies up here, which is really
Huge.
cool. And an incredibly supportive group of gals like that get together all the time. And it's just, I feel really fortunate to have those gals around here. And I think a lot of them will most likely show up and ladies won't want to miss meeting them at that lacrosse event. So
Yeah, they're that's such a neat network up there, and there's a lot of really amazing women. So I'm hoping that we get to see them all, and I'm excited about that.
yeah, they like the toothy critters like you too.
Yes, yep, one of my low key favorites. So yeah, very excited about that and to talk some. Maybe we get to talk a little musky fishing at our women's seminar for bass fishing.
I wouldn't doubt it. I'll learn a thing or two. I've only ever caught them by accident.
Yeah, they're cool fish. They're cool fish.
They are, they are.
Yeah.
Well, I know, first of all, thank you for being here at 6 a.m. this morning, everyone listening. Like we said, we have crazy schedules, so this is what worked. So I appreciate you working with that.
Yes.
And I know you've talked about this a ton already, but I doubt it can get old. Your huge kayak win recently on 10 Killer.
Yes. Yep. That was kind of a neat deal, right?
Kind of.
It's crazy, Maggie. Like I never think of it as anything really significant. And it's every time it seems like I get a big win, it just breaks the internet. And I'm just blown away by the thousands and thousands and thousands of comments and just shares and support and messages. And it's a really cool reminder that it's so much bigger than me. It's just the fact that, we're seeing a gal up there with the boys that won a huge tournament because and it has such a ripple effect and it just blows me away. And I forget every single time. I was actually joking with my boyfriend right after that tournament, like literally the hour after we went to eat with a bunch of people. And he's like, well, get ready. You're going to be swamped for the next 2 weeks. And I said, no, I think people at this point, like, are kind of, I've won almost 10 big tournaments now in my career. So like, I think people are kind of used to me winning. Like, I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal this time. I was wrong. And sometimes it's really hard for me. I really struggle. I've always struggled with having that level of attention that comes with it because I get so much more attention than my peers do for doing the exact same thing. That's always been really, really hard for me. Always been really hard for me. But I have to kind of remember, and I have a lot of people, a lot of my peers telling me that, it's one of those things where you have to kind of just accept it and understand that it is very powerful. And for all the little girls that can see that, it's deserving of a little extra attention because it is something that is a little more rare.
Yeah.
So I struggle with it, but I'm just constantly blown away and just overwhelmed, like just with gratitude because it's not as a big deal to me. I've always wanted to win a Bassmaster. I've got second, I've got third, I've got fourth before, and I've got all those blue trophies on my wall, but I hadn't realized that I'd never won one yet. So that was a little special. It's a little extra special too.
Absolutely. And I think that says a lot about you. You know, the fact that you kind of don't view it as a big deal that you're a woman winning. And I mean, we've talked about that, that's kind of a goal of ours with this BassmastHER initiative is to make it like
More
women competing against the guys more common. And it shouldn't be a big deal. So it's cool that it's not a big deal to you. But like you said, for those little girls watching, and I mean, grown women, for me, it's a big deal to see that, you know, and we're all so proud of you and excited to see you out there representing and not just representing, but winning, you know, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. It's neat. And I think that at the end of the day, like you said, our goal, I just want to see it happen more.
Yeah.
I want to see more gals up on stage. And I get so dang excited when I see just all over social media, the high school gals from Oklahoma winning and they're against the boys. I mean, I just love seeing that stuff. And I think if we can keep moving forward with this initiative, we're going to see that happen more and more. And it won't break the internet when it happens all the time, hopefully. So
Yeah. And what I admire about you too is you always say, I don't want it to be me. I don't care if it's me, but I mean, it's got to feel pretty good when it is. But
yes, I mean, I've always struggled with that.
yeah.
Even from the very, very beginning. I remember the first time I got third in one of our big national kayak tournaments in Kentucky Lake. And I think this was like 7 years ago now. And there was 180 people competing. This was a big Kentucky Lake Open that we had every single year. And there had never been a female that I think had ever broke the top 20 in the history of that tournament. And then I got third one year, my
Wow.
second year competing. And the amount of media that I got compared to the guy that won it, I remember like, I was crying that night. I was so mad.
Yeah.
And I said, why are you guys giving me the attention? I didn't win the tournament, but they made such a huge deal over the fact that I got third. And it infuriated me. I mean, it
Mhm.
was so hard for me to understand that. It was just a very difficult thing. And that's when I kind of first understood that this is going to be a little different experience for me from here on out, and it has been. And it's never something that is very easy. And I always try very hard to be able to feel like I'm earning this extra attention. That's really important to me. That's why I work so dang hard at everything that I do. But I think that like we said, if we can have this happening more, and that's my goal, it doesn't, I've never needed it to be me. I loved bass fish and I love tournament fishing and I'm going to keep doing it for as long as I can. But my goodness, like I'm just hoping we can see some of these younger gals coming up and can follow right along and, beat my accomplishments and do the same thing. So that's my goal in all of it. So if the extra attention helps kind of light a fire in somebody, I'll take it, but it's gonna always be a struggle for me. Always.
Yeah, and I think something an important reminder too is it's because you put that work in, you know, and it's not just because you're a female. And I hopefully we can get to that, like you said, with the younger women too. It's I mean, you're earning it, Kristine, you deserve it. But I get what you mean with that third place. And that leads me to a question I have. Hopefully you don't mind me asking, but we both have boyfriends who like to fish a lot too, right? Which we're fortunate for, and
Mm.
that's probably the only way it would work for us, right? But
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I think we've talked about this a little before. Have you ever experienced that with your boyfriend at all too? Because I mean, he's competing in these tournaments against you as well. And I know you've talked about how he's an incredible angler and um I think he seems very, very supportive, but you've probably felt that with him before too. Like he deserves a lot more credit for all he's doing out here as well, right?
He
Yeah.
absolutely does. And yeah, I'm glad that you did bring that up because a lot of people don't see our support systems kind of behind the scenes.
Right.
I think Andrew's very similar in this regard that, Guillermo and he both they're quiet, more reserved, just kind of behind the scenes, just helping
Yep.
things along. And they're not trying to take any of the credit. And it is hard. I mean, sometimes when, especially at some of the shows, I've definitely felt where, G is the leading angler of the year in the Bassmaster Kayak Series right now. And he is one of the best anglers that I know. And I've learned so much from him. And I don't shy away from the opportunity to be able to give credit back because, G and I were best friends 5 years before we started dating. And we would go out and fun fish all the time. And I remember just being so blown away, like watching him fish was an art. And I was like, my goodness, like I want to fish like he does. And I just remember being a sponge around him, and I learned so much about casting mechanics and different techniques and decision making because he is such a he's a fishy dude. He's a fishy dude. And I wanted to learn everything I could from him. So I feel like there's some people out there that that they kind of want to just say like, oh, this was all me. I did this all on my own. I I'm never gonna shy away from giving credit where it's due.
Hmm.
I put a lot of time in on the water and I'll give myself credit, where it's deserved, but I would not be the angler I am without so many of the amazing anglers out there mentoring me and taking the time with me like G, and which is why like I make sure that every opportunity I get at every single tournament, if I see a competitor struggling or if I have a co-angler, I'm going to pour into them everything I know and help them try to have a better experience because so many people did that to me for me early on. And I think that's a part of a very important part of our sport that no one really talks about or realizes. It's those little things that help make these great anglers. And I know a lot of the guys, Aaron Martins was huge for this, people that took the time and really helped grow these younger anglers. And G's a prime example. And without him, I mean, I could do it because I'm independent and I'm stubborn as heck. But my goodness, would it be so much harder without him? And he is so supportive. And there are times where I feel like he doesn't get the credit he deserves. And we'll go to the big shows, and even sometimes his sponsors will walk into a booth and they'll want to talk to me. And I'm just like, this is your guy.
Yeah.
That sucks. That sucks, and that's always been hard. But he plays that role so well and always gives me credit and lifts me up. So I'm very fortunate, but I try really hard to make sure that I'm doing the same for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk at our workshops all the time about just using your resources, whoever they are, whether it's a mentor or a significant other or a parent or, I mean, YouTube videos. You can just learn so much from these experienced anglers around you. And yeah, I feel very fortunate that mine's my partner in crime and I've learned so much from him too. And here's a question though. What advice would you give hypothetically asking for a friend? Um, for someone who hasn't earned the street cred that you have quite yet, and the local people at the Derby think your boyfriend just catches all the fish.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I'm
That's
kidding. That's me being that
a
I just got to swallow
No,
my pride a little bit.
that's a real thing though. There's a lot of women, especially, you guys fish a lot of team tournaments together. And there's a lot of women that are in that exact same situation where people just automatically assume because it's a team tournament and y'all are in the back of the boat that it's the guy. I mean, I hear that all the time. So that's a really good question. And I think the best way, and you already do this. I know that you do the co-angling thing with other guys up there in some of the tournaments, and so they can see how you fish. And that's the
Yeah,
best way to do it. It's just to get out there and be like, okay, how about I'm your coat next time, or how about I go out with you? Let me show you what's up and catch more fish in them in the back of the boat.
yeah,
That's I think that with guys, it really is like you gotta walk the walk. And when they see that, when they see your casting, when they see you hooking in that big smallmouth and catching fish right behind them, they're like, hmm. And I've heard it from a lot of my friends that are professional anglers, when I've heard them talk about their co-anglers, good or bad. So guys pay attention to that, and they're watching, even you don't think they're watching, a lot of times they're watching what you're doing, what you're casting at, what you're throwing. So I think you just go out there and do your thing. And maybe one of these times be like, hey, guess what, Andrew? I want to do the boat thing. I want to be up front. I want to be
yeah.
the decisions and all of that.
Yeah. We've been doing that a lot more lately because I think that's the best way for me to learn and grow. And it's nice to do it while you have an experienced angler still in the boat with you, versus feeling like you're just getting thrown out to the wolves in a boat on your own. So that's helped me learn a lot. And I always joke in tournaments. I know it's not a good thing when your competition sees you catch fish, but I'm always like, now y'all know I catch them too.
Yeah, it is. And
Uh,
that's a little different from my experience. Like I didn't, get in, I did the kayak fishing thing. So I
right.
was by myself. So it's like I'm trying, that's kind of got my wheels turning. We do get that question so often with the team tournaments and everything of how do you feel? And I guess the best advice I can give, and this is a mistake that I made early on in the kayak stuff, is I really thought for probably for 3 years that I had something to prove. And I
Yeah.
had this attitude that like I wanted to prove everybody wrong. And you don't have to prove anybody anything.
Yeah.
You really don't. And that having that attitude, it propelled me to win a lot of tournaments in those first few years, but it also just I was almost so centered around just having to prove all these people wrong that it kind of ruined some things for me.
Mhm.
So I don't feel, and I always tell gals, and I know it's so hard for us because we're already on, on the other side. Like we have to kind of earn that respect. We have to kind of earn that where a lot of guys, I just kind of already have it granted to them when they're in the fishing space. So that's always hard to be in the other side. But I've always kind of learned that if you waste your time fixating on that, just thinking that you gotta just see this chip on your shoulder, I don't know. I think there's a better approach to it. And that's just focusing on you and enjoying, the sport that we love and the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, and don't feel like you have anything to prove to anybody. Because in reality, we don't. We're there because we love to fish. And sometimes we catch them and a lot of times we don't, and that's okay.
Yeah. I say that to Andrew all the time because not to expose him here, but he'll be real grumpy if we're not doing well in a team tournament. And I'm like, can we just take a moment to remember no one's forcing us to do these. We're doing these because we enjoy it. Let's have fun. And we'll find some,
Exactly.
just put your head down and fish and we'll find some. But
It's so important. You're so right on that. Yeah.
yeah. I know I've mentioned this before, but I just need to say it again that you were one of the few people that got through my thick skull when I fished the opens last year. My
Mhm.
very first one. Oh my God, I had just a terrible first open and I put so much pressure on myself to do well. And yeah, you really helped me out with that, like talking about how you had that chip on your shoulder and felt like you had something to prove. And I totally changed my mindset on my next two, and I enjoyed them, and I did so much better.
It changes the whole way you fish.
Yeah.
You don't have that. I feel like that pressure is they're almost like, it's almost like handcuffs. And you feel just this
Hmm.
immense, this immense pressure to prove things and to live up to these expectations. When at the end of the day, it's just fishing. It's
Yeah.
really fishing. And look at it's a prime example on the Elite Series right now. Bill Lowen. You look at the whole negative forward facing sonar debacle we have going on right now. Bill Lowen had a really terrible year last year and the year before with the forward facing sonar stuff. And he even said, I've listened to several podcasts where he's kind of mentioned that he, that he was so negative about the forward facing sonar thing that he decided that this year he was just going to fish how he wanted to fish and not worry about all that noise. And he won a tournament on his staple technique,
Yep.
and it's like, it's all his attitude. It's really, fishing is more mental than we give it credit for. It's confidence, it's quiet confidence. It's just learning how to drown out everything else and you're out there on the water and everything's just flowing. Your decisions, it when you feel that pressure and your mind is not working right and you're kind of running and spinning out, you're not going to fish very well. And you might as well just head on back in because it's going to be a disaster out there.
It makes me feel so much better to hear someone else say that because I swear once I start to get down on myself or get frustrated, I
Mm,
don't fish well.
mm-mm.
I
No,
don't. I
no.
miss fish. Oh my gosh, it's so true. Just remembering that you're out there because you love it and enjoying it and having fun, and if you catch them, that makes it even better, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't always catch them. Like that's the thing,
No,
it's well, it seems like you and Andrew always do with the team
no,
tournaments. You
no.
guys are always winning them.
If you haven't noticed, there haven't been many weeknight updates lately because we haven't
Well,
been doing well. But I mean, that's fine, you know. I truly I think it's so important to have gals representing us, in the opens and in these huge kayak tournaments and winning them, Kristine. And but I mean, it is so fun fishing these local tournaments and these weeknight tournaments and just the community that we have around here is just it's incredible. And I learned so much in the small little bass club I'm in here at home. Every
yeah,
tournament, it's a random draw. I get in the boat with a different person, every one we have, and I learn every single time. And I just love them. I think that's such a good baby step for anyone that wants to be a Kristine Fischer someday, look and find that local stuff and find people to hop in the boat with. It's so fun. I'm learning so much. So
Yeah, I think that's really neat, and I'm so envious of that because I never had that type of community as far as like the bass boat world. I'm sure that there were. I don't even know that we had local bass boat tournaments in Nebraska. That was way off my radar. But when we definitely didn't have a big bass scene there, and now I don't stay put long enough to even dream of doing any local tournaments. But I would love to. That'd be something that I wish I could be more active in and be cool to I wish kind of growing into my career, I could have had the opportunity to do that. So yeah, I think that if any of the ladies out there, have that opportunity, I always recommend, doing that, looking at your local kayak fishing clubs, looking at the boat clubs, because a lot of times you can jump in for a co-angler and you don't have to have any of the equipment, nothing. So it's a really good opportunity to
Yeah.
learn.
And the people that are doing this are so passionate about it and want to see the sport grow and people continue to enjoy it. They're so willing to teach you and help you out, which I just absolutely love.
Yeah.
Maybe when you come up for lacrosse, maybe you'll be here early enough you can hop into our little weeknight derb with us. That would be
Oh
fun.
gosh. Yeah, that'd be I love it. I love fishing up there. I plan on sticking around for a couple weeks after the fact, going to my little favorite neck of the woods in Wisconsin where I go every year.
Nice.
Yeah, so I will be doing a lot of fishing up there. I love it. Can't wait
Ch
to get there.
Chasing after the toothy ones or
Honestly, I do a lot of smallmouth fishing up there.
okay.
I don't get to do some of those smallmouth lakes are so dang special. But yeah, I will, I'll probably do three smallmouth trips for every one muskie trip, maybe
Nice.
a few more muskie trips. I'm still so partial to river muskies down here in Tennessee that
That's fair.
lake fish. I mean, I love muskie fishing, but I'm a big river muskie girl.
Yeah.
I get my lake fix in up there, but I want to be on those smallmouth and catching some walleye dinners, like going back to my roots. So it's kind of a nostalgic trip for me.
I love it. Well, we're excited to have you up here.
Yeah, me too. Wait.
Well, going back to your huge win, I want to get into a recent post that you made, but first, how many other gals were competing in that tournament? There were a couple,
Um,
right?
yes, this one I'm pretty sure like we had one of the larger showings. I think there were six women,
That's awesome.
six or seven was yeah, at least six, which is huge. When years ago, it was literally just me.
Yeah.
Me. So it's amazing to see if we get five or six. I know down in Florida, I think we had 11 and we hadn't ever broken those little double digits before. So over here, I'm just like, yeah, let's go,
Yeah.
girl. I just love
I have a feeling you have a lot to do with that.
Well, I hope hopefully we'll play a small role in helping somebody get into it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's always cool. Yeah, I think we had five or six or seven though in that Oklahoma tournament.
That's awesome. So if I had to guess, I'm sure they were all really fired up for you, and I think you've really, earned the respect that you receive in the kayak world. But I mean, did you feel kind of nothing but support after winning that one? I'm just thinking of
Oh
like,
yeah.
okay, good.
It's insane. Like one of our people from Bassmaster had made the comment to me that when they share my posts or like my accomplishments that there's only one other angler other than myself that it's like they can't believe how almost 99% of the even thousands of comments are positive. And that's Seth Feider. So it's like Seth and I have just and one of the guys that Bass texts me is like your fan base is incredible. Like everybody is so supportive every time. I think like one of the posts they shared had 10,000 comments. It was insane. But there was only just like a handful, if that, out of thousands comments that were like, oh, somebody helped her, which that stuff it ain't bother me. That rolls off.
Yeah.
But honestly, the amount of support, and not just from the fans, but from the professionals. And that's where I really kind of measure that level of respect because, the guys that are doing this for a living have seen it all, have fished with everybody. Having them in my corner and so many of them, the amount of Elite Series and MLF guys that called and texted me after that was just it was huge. And just people in our industry, heads of marketing companies that don't even sponsor me, people that I just know through networking that were just like, this is huge. You're making a real impact. And we could not be more proud of you and happy for you. Having people in the industry that I work in take the time and reach out, I don't feel like there's really any negativity. The only negativity that's there is quite honestly probably rooted in jealousy, which is super, super sad, but it is what it is, you know?
Yeah. And I think we don't give enough credit to the guys, the elite guys, the MLF guys that you mentioned that support us as well. It's really important that the fan bases that they already have, if they see them supporting the gals that are getting after it, that really means a lot. So not to give out any spoilers, but I think we're going to try to get one of them on a future episode of the podcast. That someone that's been really supportive of us and
Mhm.
might be a father to some daughters, so this might mean a lot to them. So
Yep.
it's really important. But going off of that, so you just recently made a post talking about Caitlin Clark, which
Mhm.
really resonated with me because she's just, I mean, she's
Phenomenal.
phenomenal. And you talked about when you make it to the top, you'd think it would be met with respect and praise, but sometimes it's met with jealousy. And I was just kind of curious. The reason I was asking those questions is if you feel any of that, because I know you don't like when I toot your horn, Kristine, but I kind of view you as on the top. I mean, you just won a huge tournament, and I'm just curious if you've ever faced any of that, the jealousy, whether it be from women or men. Like I'm sure some guys still, it's hard for them to swallow that pride of, oh, I got beat by a girl.
Yeah, yes. And I made that post because this has been something that has been on my heart, honestly, for years, but it is very, very difficult to talk about because it is controversial. It is kind of towing the line and addressing some things that make a lot of people very uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And, and I've spoke with a lot of women, not just in our industry, in the marketing scene, but other very successful female anglers that I'm very close with and respect. But it's women in other industries. My big Yeti summit that I did, where there's just literally the upper echelon of women in their respective fields were there, and they all shared their same exact sentiments that I've experienced. And my GoPro ladies, my mountain biking gals that I did a summit with, same exact thing. And what it is it's not, and these are all women in male dominated fields. So we all
Right.
have very similar experiences. And a lot of times, like I said, we get the handful of comments from guys, but it's just real kind of just trolly comments that, oh, somebody helped her, which doesn't
Yeah.
really hurt. But the real amount of sabotage and just but really tough things has always for me been from women
Yeah.
in this case. And that's that all of those other women shared the exact same thing. Like women that have actually wanted to ruin your career or tried to destroy your character, or your reputation, spread just heinous lies. And that's what's been really hard for me because it's never been the men that have done that to me.
Yeah.
And I've felt it from other just influencer women. I felt it from women that, are tournament gals. And now I say this, I want to really preface this by saying that the majority of gals that I've met and encountered have been nothing but supportive.
Hmm.
It's just, there's been the handful of the ones, and unfortunately, the really tough experiences that I've had have all been women, but it's been a handful. And I think that we see that played out with the Caitlin Clark thing. And it's one thing that I have always strived to understand is why for women, there is such this, we tend to have this just very, almost very jealous nature sometimes. And I don't understand where that comes from. I've never been a jealous person. So it's hard for me to kind of try to see where we're coming from because I've always experienced that, when you are at the top of your game, like the cream rises to the top. And if you are surrounding yourself with those people, it elevates everybody as a whole. Like look at Caitlin Clark right now, elevating the entire WNBA just by her being this absolute standout at the top of her game. She's elevating everybody, and they're just refusing. A lot of them are refusing to see that. So it's really hard, and on a much much smaller level because Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon all her own. But I have had people kind of make comments to me, and they've seen some of that, and with what I do. And I've definitely felt it. So it's been really hard. And I've always tried to figure out like how do we talk about this? How do we put this out in the open? How do we address it and help kind of do some self-reflecting and see that, if there is someone that's literally standing out, how do we how can we get behind and really support and rally and understand that it's a group deal, and it's hard because I've always had that target on my back and I've never wanted that. But there's a lot of people that have made comments about me saying that I am the GOAT or I am the best female angler. People say that about me all the time, but I've never once in the history of my career ever said that about myself. So it's like you almost just get that target put on your back from how other people talk about you. And that's been something that's been really, really difficult and I don't understand it. And it's definitely been tough, but it's always been with other women. So I want to, I want to try to put that out there and talk about like how do we where is it coming from and how do we fix it? How do we genuinely want to elevate all of us? Because there's so much room for everybody to be so successful in this and so good. And I can't wait to pass that baton and see somebody beat everything that I'm doing. And that is so deeply genuine. So when people don't, see me coming up and doing things and they feel very threatened by it. And I don't understand it. I don't know if you've experienced any of that or if you can touch on it too from like your side of things, but
Yeah, a little bit. I do agree with what you say with women being worse. You'd think it would be men with their pride, and I think there's this issue of women wanting to be the best and wanting to be at the top, and we talk about this all the time, but we have to do that together. It's not one woman that claws her way to the top that's going to change things. It's all of us supporting each other, and if we're not respecting each other, how do we expect other people to respect us, you know? So has to be a team effort. So I don't know about you, but I feel like you have more years of experience in this industry than I do, but in the few that I have, I do see it getting better. I think we're starting to figure that out a little
I
bit.
hope so.
Yeah, a
I
little
hope.
bit.
I feel like, I never felt that. Like when I was first starting out and would have some pretty good tournaments, be semi-consistent. It wasn't until I started, you know, um, accomplishing even more. It's like I was really welcomed by everybody when I was doing pretty good, getting a little bit of attention here or there. But then when it was like, when, it
Yeah.
flipped. It's like that's what was kind of interesting. People wanted to, really try to make excuses for where I was, or there's this mentality that there's literally only room for one person to be at the top. And that's always been the most bizarre thing for me. I've
Yeah.
never understood that. There's this like unspoken competition there between the women. It's like, no, like the only time I'm competing against you is if you're on my tournament roster against me. And even then, like I want you to do well, you know.
Right.
So I don't know, it's been really odd. And I just think that it's a society thing too with social media. And I think people get so caught up with, you know, um, followers and attention and, all this stuff. And it's almost like wiring our brain to automatically just look to compare ourselves to other people. And that is like the most devastating thing for me to see happening and unfolding and all across the board because you see it playing out on social media and
Mhm.
it's really sad for me to see it. And I hope that we can collectively put a message out there that is just showing that, hey, it's not one person at the top. I may be winning these tournaments and helping kind of lead this charge in a way, but that there that doesn't diminish the thousands of other accomplishments that other women are. I talked to you about this, when you won the co-angler that won recently up there. Like
Yeah.
what I'm doing is I don't want that to diminish what every other gals out there is doing because it all plays a role and we all have a very different role in this large movement of furthering women's fishing.
Hmm.
And it's going to look, there's gals in marketing behind the scenes that are doing their own little part. It's a big collective movement. And, we just all wear different hats and are going to have different things that we can contribute, but it doesn't make one thing more important or more significant than the other. And that's the message that I want to hope to put out there. Look at like what's her name? She came to our Nicole. Nicole, I can't remember her last name. She's super cute and she came to the classic. She has she's blown up on social media and
Yep.
she's literally just putting out very beginner. She's not shy to share, her lack of knowledge or excess of knowledge therein, but she's putting out just these super genuine, very basic fishing videos. And she's blowing up. And I think that that is such a big thing to get all these other newer anglers into our sport and show them that, hey, like, you don't have to be the best out there. You can just get out here because you love to fish. You can just showing that you love to fish and that just very genuine joy, whether you're a beginner or an expert, that there's so much power in that. And even so, I think that there's even more like with that very genuine intro to fishing beginner content because that is the majority of anglers out there. So it's more relatable, and that's why
Yep.
so we all have a role in this, and it not one is more important. One might get more spotlight and more attention, but I always try really hard to make sure that, we're shining a light on all of these different sectors of the sport that are helping make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I sure do appreciate your pep talks when I win a little local derby as a co-angler and you're like, "Hey, that's nothing to not be
No,
proud of." So,
absolutely not, because it does make a difference, and you may not see it. But yeah, I'm always if I ever see those comments when you getting down on yourself, Maggie Joe, I'm gonna reach out and be pretty hard on you because I'm not gonna let you do that.
I'm not getting down on myself. I just don't think it's fair to compare my 15 angler tournament win to your Bassmaster kayak tournament. That's all.
It is the thief of joy. When we talked about the comparing thing, we don't do that.
Well,
Yours
look. All
is
right.
important.
All right. You're right. You're right.
Just think about that little Wisconsin girl who's a daughter to one of those guys that you co-angled with, and she's just like, "Oh my gosh, Maggie Joe's my hero."
No, yeah.
Well,
You're
we've got to
right.
remember that stuff.
See, this is why I'm lucky to have Kristine in my life because she gives me a lot of advice and pep talks that I need.
I'm always gonna keep it real, good or bad. I'll be straight. I'll be straight with everybody. It's because I care, though. Always is.
No, yep, I appreciate that. And speaking of supporting other women, I've seen you taking a lot of gals out in your bass boat and recently helped one catch a PB.
Oh my gosh, Maggie, that was literally the coolest thing. Yes. So back in February, this guy contacted me via email and said that his girlfriend had just gotten into fishing, that she was a huge fan of mine, and he wanted to get her a trip to fish with me for her birthday. And I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, like I'm not even they're in Tennessee. Like I'm not even back in Tennessee until maybe June, like maybe. Because I'm all over my spring was insane. But we ended up making it work. I did not know that she didn't know this was happening. So I got my boat
Oh,
down to Dayton Boat Dock. And I see her and he and her get out of the truck and they're walking down this dock. And she stops halfway and looks back at her boyfriend and looks down at me and she goes like this. And he's like, "Yeah, you're fishing with her." And she starts crying and just has tears in her eyes. She's like, "I can't believe this. I can't believe this." Like I told my boyfriend, "I think that's Kristine Fischer right there." And he's like, "No, I don't think that's her." And it was a surprise.
I'm gonna
So one,
cry.
shout out for the boyfriend because
Yeah.
amazing guy to orchestrate this all behind the scenes. But yeah, and I could just tell, I don't think I'm that cool. So it's still kind of weird for me when people it's just odd. I'm like, y'all don't realize how like closet nerd I am. But she found out how big of a hot mess I'm on the boat that day. But we just had the best time. I mean, she was a single mom and, worked really, really hard and had just got into fishing when she started dating her boyfriend. And we go out fishing and she wanted to learn how to use a bait caster. So I spent a bunch of time with her and we just had a good time. We were catching some fish here and there. And I was literally praying the entire time. I was like, "Lord, please just give her one big bass." I had no idea what her PB was, but I assumed it was, pretty decent. They do a lot of fishing on some big bass lakes, but I was praying so hard. And I was like, let's make one little spot. I got one channel swing bank that I, sometimes catch some good fish on in this back pocket while I was up in the river. And we go there and she makes a cast and we're sitting there talking. She's like, "Oh, I think I got one." And her rod doubles over and it's rip and drag. And I was like, "Oh, this might be the one." And lo and behold, when I saw it kind of turn on the boat, I was like, "Oh my gosh, Denise, like this is a good fish, it's a good fish." And she's just not saying a word the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
Going on. But so anyway, I got it out and it was just a few ounces shy of 6 pounds. And she just almost froze. I was freaking out. I'm very animated. Obviously, I think everybody knows that. I was losing my mind. I was screaming. I was like, "That's a really good fish." And we weighed it and she's like, "Oh my gosh, like what?" She's like, "I think that's my PB." I was like, "What was your PB before that?" She had 3 pounds, 1 ounce. So she
Wow.
just shy of 6 pounds. She was just over the moon. Her boyfriend was ecstatic. We weighed it. measured it, got a really good release, and it just was the most incredible evening. So it's like, when you do something so often and you accomplish a lot for yourself, seeing somebody else do that is literally the same thing happened to me when I used to guide. I used to guide women's turkey hunts back in Nebraska, and I shot like 30, 40 turkeys with my bow in the years that I lived back home. But when I put this gal on her first turkey, it was just her and I out in the woods. Just the amount of joy and excitement that I got for her, seeing her face just light up when she dropped that bird, was tenfold. What even my first turkey with my bow, like that was so much more cool. And seeing Denise catch her PB, I was just over the moon, and it just almost transcends what we can do ourselves when we see other people just get lit on fire for the most, the outdoors and fishing and hunting and all these things. It was just really, really cool. So yeah, I see that in my future. If I ever, take some steps back from my career, I see either doing guiding or just mentorship or maybe some coaching. I don't know, but I love it. I just absolutely love it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I loved seeing the post, and I know you texted some photos to us, but hearing that full story is just props to that boyfriend. Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's what I said. I actually emailed him and I said, "Listen, that was one of the most amazing things. Like you made her entire year, and she just spoke so highly of you and how, like,
Oh,
how you had the foresight to do that." And I talked to her about fishing the LBA as a because the women there they're so great and they're so helpful and they're really, really good when she would fit right in with learning on that. And I told him, I was like, "Listen, like I will pay her entry fee. Like, please, if we're within 5 or 6 hours, like I would love to have her come and fish that." And he was 100% on board. So I think we're going to see Denise make an appearance at the LVA next year in one of the tournaments.
that's so cool. That
Yeah.
is so awesome. Well, I know you have hopped into a couple of those tournaments and you're fishing some more opens out of the bass boat this year. I want an update on year two with the bass boat. How's it going?
Oh gosh, Maggie, I still have so much to I feel like I'm such a noob with it and there's so many things. It's going. I feel more comfortable now, but there's still, I take it pretty easy. I'm so thankful that I waited until I was in my mid 30s to get a bass boat. I can't imagine if I got one at 19, I probably wouldn't be here. I was so stupid and reckless. I'm very thankful. I mean, those things, oh my gosh, like I'm still keeping it, 50, 55 miles an hour on the water, just cruising along, getting better with the trolling motor. But it's a lot. It's been, and I knew it was going to be hard for me. You know what the biggest thing is though, is I don't, it's been really difficult for me when something goes wrong out there on the water that I can't troubleshoot it. That has really, really made me feel uncomfortable. I had something happen at the Champlain media event up there, and the guys were wonderful in helping me with some of the things that were going on with my boat. But the fact that I didn't know or and I couldn't troubleshoot really, really bothered me. And I don't, because a lot of the stuff I am doing by myself. I'll have Annie at some of them, and she's a wealth of knowledge with the boat stuff. But other times I am completely by myself, and G's got kayak tournaments he's going to be doing when I'm at my last two opens. So I'm like, I have to know how to do this and what's going on. So I called our service guy that goes to all the big tournaments. I'm like, Rob, I want to come hang out with you for a couple of days in the service yard because I need you to teach me everything you know in a couple of days. And he was like, come on, girl, I got you. And so I'm hoping that, I can pick up at least the basics to where I just don't like feeling helpless. That's the
Yeah.
worst thing in the world. That is my kryptonite. I don't like feeling helpless. I've always been able to take care of myself. I've always been able to change tires, change oil, do all the truck and car things when I'm on the road and just things in general I can handle and take care of. The boat is so dang new to me that I don't understand some of the things. And that is very hard. So I'm hoping to learn that so I don't feel so helpless out there, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, we talk about you being so independent and not needing help, and
Not
I've
here.
yeah, well, I've vented to you about that too, about that being one of my biggest fears. And you have to get over your fears and just go out and do it. And I know talking to Andrew, I mean, he's very handy with that kind of stuff, but it's just having a boat and, having the years of experience of things going wrong and you figure it out and learn as you go. But that is one of my biggest fears is being out on the water. And my brain just isn't wired like that personally. I hate to admit it. I wish it was, but I don't know how to check these connections and I don't I have no idea, but I've been, in team tournaments and a co-angler enough to see all those things that go wrong from time to time, and that scares the crap out of me, but there's only one way to learn.
Alone. Yeah, you are not alone. That's me too. And I feel like my brain's not wired like that. And I'm trying to rewire it to where I can at least understand enough. But the one thing that Rob said that made me feel a lot better, and he's the service guy that I called,
Yeah.
he's like, you'd be surprised, like the amount of the guys that don't know anything about their boats. And they always call me for the most basic stuff. And he's like, the fact that you want to try to learn, is really, really good. And I
Hmm.
don't hear that a lot. And I was like, well, so it's not just us. And a lot of times I think that we think because I'm just that girl that has no idea what I'm doing out here. It sounds like that's a pretty common deal with the boats.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, but I'm with you, Maggie. Like it's hard, but that's why I did it.
Right.
I really wanted to. I'm somebody that when I start when I about hit that ceiling where I don't think I can accomplish much more, I need the next thing. And usually that thing is something that's going to bring me to my knees and just absolutely destroy me. And for me, that's good. I always thrive in those situations where even if I don't quote unquote succeed on paper, for me, it's getting out there and learning this. And it really, it's what motivates me and keeps me going. And I've been like this since I was a kid. Like I need to have that next big challenge that's almost like impossible, to figure out and master. And so it's been really good. And I did, come from literally zero, level zero with the boat knowledge. I've never been on a trolling motor, never driven a boat, like none of that. And I jumped in and started fishing tournaments, out of nowhere. So I'm hoping that in that other women can see it and be like, okay, she's literally at square one too. And if she can figure this out and do this, then we can do this too. And we can own our own boat and we can get out there and do this. So that's what I'm hoping is to kind of help take people along and say, like, yeah, I was pretty good at the kayak stuff, but I was really, really bad at the boat stuff. And I'm trying to make it work, and I've made literally every single mistake that one could make on the bass boat. I'm pretty sure I've already done that in the last 12 months. So, and it's part of it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we can't get comfortable. That's not how you grow. And I think you and Annie are such a cool team for me
Mhm.
to watch and admire because you have Annie
Oh,
who's
you haven't traveled with us. You want to talk about
well, I'm just
disaster?
I mean it's really neat when it comes to a gal running a boat because you got Annie who's been doing it since she was what, 16. So it shows you can do it there.
Fine.
And
Yeah.
then, you have yourself who got into it and is just like, I'm not scared of this. I haven't been doing it since I was 16, but I'm gonna learn and push myself and get into it. So it shows anyone that they can do it.
Yeah, we do have a really, really good time with it. Annie and I we're very alike in a lot of ways, and then we are polar opposite. Like I'm fly by the seat of my pants, not have a plan. And that girl gets her truck detailed every 2 weeks. Um, we just could not be further, but it's cool because we get to, it's like she looks to me for fishing stuff, and then I get to look to her for all the boat stuff. And so it's really cool. Like it goes to show that you can never stop learning from people. And we have a really good time, even though it's been a catastrophe our last couple of events with all these things going wrong. We've had a lot of fun with it, and it helps I think it helps both of us just struggling together at this. Um, so yeah, and I was so really bummed that they really well, bummed and then thankful because now being a boater, like I was kind of bummed they got away with the co-angler thing. It's like, dang, Maggie can come travel with us and just we can have this mess of a deal in the opens. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to do that one of these days.
Yeah. I was bummed. I understand, Bass. Don't be mad at me, but I
Yeah.
was bummed. I felt like I needed another year. Again, it's just the learning experience is just incredible.
Mhm.
Um, but I get it. I get why they did it, but I was disappointed for sure. But that's all right. We're making do.
Yeah. And
We're
I mean,
making do.
there's other opportunities. I was kind of bummed too, but then I totally get it. And as a boater, I also totally get it.
Yep.
I understand it, but Yeah, it's bittersweet. There's things that I did the co thing for a couple of years, I think maybe 5 tournaments total, and it was really neat. I love the people that I got to fish with. What an amazing thing. And I'll probably maybe try to do some co-angler stuff in the future, even just for that networking, and just for the I just love fishing with people.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll try to jump into a few more as a co too, but for the time being, I gotta fish as many boat tournaments as I can to where I can finally feel like I can focus on my fishing and not in my mind in a tournament. I'm not thinking about my fishing. I'm thinking about, okay, don't do anything stupid. Get the boat from point A to point B. Like that is literally what's on my probably 60% of what's occupying my mental space is the boat stuff and still being very, very new to it right now.
Oh yeah, I talk to my boaters about that all the time, about how people say co's are the ones that have it tough because you have no control and you can't make any decisions, you can get backboated, this and that. And I'm like, well, you have to look at it this way too. All I have to do is fish. I have to focus on
Yeah.
myself, my line, the fish. You guys are controlling the boat, positioning the boat. If you're
Well,
nice,
big thing
hoping
is
to position it
minding.
so I can catch some too. No.
Yeah. That's one thing that as I think a lot of coast, and I've talked to a lot of people that have done this and have experienced some success on the co-angler side, and they go to the pro side and are don't understand why they're just bombing. And it's like a lot of times I don't think co's understand, or it's harder to really grasp what that boater did to find those fish
Yeah,
and how when in a 200 plus angler field if you're catching fish, it's because that boater is around fish and getting
right.
around fish when a lot of times the fish are in 20 or 30% of the water is not easy. Finding fish is always going to be the number one thing that separates, the good anglers from the guy people that can't find fish. And that's one thing that I learned very quickly and was very thankful for the at least the kayak side of it was it really does teach you how to find fish. And that is
Mhm.
first and foremost. You can find fish. You don't have to be the best angler out there. You can figure out how to catch them, but finding them first and foremost, the most important thing.
Absolutely. I always joke about I'm very fortunate for bigger tournaments like that. I have someone I can pre-fish with all the time. Usually Andrew's there fishing as a boater and I can hop in and pre-fish, and it doesn't do you a ton of good as a co because at the end of the day you can't decide where you go to
Mm,
what spots you're going to, but there have been times, especially at Leech Lake, I will always say I will attribute my top 10 finish to the fact that I got to practice because I'll expose myself. I'm not good at flipping really heavy cover. It's something I'm still like, it's just not a comfort thing for me. And
hmm
having like 3 solid days of flipping that really heavy, the reeds and the rice on Leech Lake and
mm.
figuring out what those bites felt like, I caught like one legal fish in practice. I'm not kidding. Like the last day, I finally started to like figure out what I had to do, and I put a lighter weight on and tried to figure out what to do behind someone when it's kind of tough to flip behind someone. And practice really can help as a co. I swear it sounds silly, but that helped me so much.
Oh gosh, that's cool to hear you say that. I didn't even think. One, I'm super jealous that you got largemouth guys both days. That would have been huge.
Yeah,
You were with the smallmouth guy. You weren't. You might as well not have even went out on the
I
water.
know.
There was
I
like a
know.
hundred cows that blanked, and that was like one of the most miserable going
I
experiences.
know.
Largemouth day was great. Like I caught
Yeah.
huge fish and it was pretty easy to not easy, but it was a lot. You were around fish and you could catch them.
Hmm.
Dude, if you were the smallmouth guy, Maggie, it was brutal.
I remember. I felt
Brutal.
so bad. I think
Yeah.
my day one
Oh,
guy, we tried smallmouth for a little bit and then figured out that that wasn't the sauce. But I actually only brought in 2 fish day one, um, because we spent a little time doing that. But I know I was very thankful. I've never felt so bad and guilty talking to you at the end of the day. You just
that one kind of broke me. And
I
I was
know.
what? I'm never I had cut a check in every single co-angler event before that. And then and I look at that, it's like, listen, co's it really is about the boater and who you're with, and the pairings make a huge, huge, huge difference. But I felt that in a huge way at Leech Lake. It was
Yeah.
and I understood that was where I understood why they made the decision to do away with co-anglers because there were a lot of very upset co's after that one. And it's not the boater's fault, I'm
No.
not mad at my boater at all. It's not, he's there to try to qualify for the elite series.
Right.
But I mean, when you look out in this vast openness and all your co's are just sitting there not making a cast because you can't. You can't. It's not like St. Clair where there's scattered rock or grass out to the sides. It's a mud flat and you're fishing giant isolated boulders. And it's like you have zero, really zero chance of catching a fish. It was
Yeah.
brutal.
The one,
But
didn't you caught a nice one though, didn't you? Am I
smallmouth?
remember?
No,
Oh,
uh-uh.
no,
I
I'm
didn't.
sorry.
No, no, I
I
didn't.
thought I remembered you bringing in a nice one.
That, yeah, I caught that the one that was just shy of 5 pounds, largemouth with
Okay.
first day. Yeah, I
Okay.
caught a huge one that first day punching. Had a great time doing all that. Caught a lot of fish, tons of fish that first day. The largemouth fishing up there was incredible. I
Yeah.
want to go up there I want to bring my kayak up there and largemouth fish,
Oh,
honestly.
I know.
Yeah,
I was really looking forward to fishing that open again. So,
no.
but maybe
Isn't there
I'll,
another one at Leech this year?
well, yeah, but not for co's.
That's
So,
right. Yeah, I was like, oh, there's another Leech open this
yeah,
year.
that's why I was so fired up when I saw that, but
Yeah.
I'll
Is
get
Ethan
back
gonna
there.
fish it?
He's not. No, we're focusing on like really trying to hammer down on like local circuits and do well in points. And I think we talked about this a little bit. I'm hoping talk about flying by the seat of my pants, but I'm hoping to fish the nation on Erie and then our Bass State tournament here as well, just to do what I can, you know, and then I
Yeah,
mean we
that's
certainly
awesome.
stay busy with like Angler's Choice and WAPTA and our club stuff and our weeknight stuff. So, um, you know, not huge tournaments, but you're still out there fishing, learning, and it's a lot of fun. Keeps us busy.
That's what it's all about, girl. That's
Yep.
what's about.
Yep. So what do you all have coming up here? I know ICAST is coming up before we know it, right?
Yep. We're heading down to a little fishing in the Everglades next couple days, and then we'll go to ICAST from there. And then I fly out Friday, start practice Saturday for the Upper Chesapeake, and then I have the St. Lawrence. I mean, it's back to back on that. So my last two opens of the year, definitely excited. The St. Lawrence has me a little nervous because it's big, big water, and I still am running that aluminum boat. So
Yep.
I think I'll probably be a little limited there, but that's okay. Like this is still, I'm still giving myself some learning time and not trying to be too hard on myself with the open stuff just yet.
Yeah.
Uh, then I've got two kayak tournaments back to back again on the Susquehanna River, which is one of my favorite fisheries in the country. So I'm really excited about those. I love fishing there. It's an awesome experience. And then I've got lacrosse for that seminar. So I'll be heading out there for that, and then just gonna hang out in Wisconsin probably until the Yeti Bass Open, and which is in September again. So.
Nice. And then we have the owners tournament coming up
Yep,
in
in
October,
October
right?
on Gunnersville, so a little bit closer to my neck of the woods. I'm really excited about that one, Gunnersville, especially in October. It's an iconic fishery. There'll be some huge fish caught. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I had such a great time. I don't know about you. I'm sure you can share these sentiments, but that what a cool deal. And how amazing is it that Toyota just they give back so much to our sport more than any of the other automotive company by far. And this tournament, just seeing all the Toyota owners there come and register and sign up and get all these prizes and compete in this tournament, just kudos to Toyota. Big hats off to them. What a
Cool.
yes, yeah. What a cool thing. And I just very, very proud that we get to represent them and help represent them and be there at that tournament to meet everybody and talk and hang out. And hope to see everybody there for that. So
Yeah.
if you do drive a Toyota, make sure you get signed up for that big tournament in October at Gunnersville.
Yep. And ladies, we're doing a BassmastHER workshop there as well. So make
Yep.
sure you're there for that. Yeah, it's just last year that entire field full of Toyota trucks and
Oh, so
just
cool.
everyone there so fired up to be fishing and like the just a stacked roster Toyota had of you know all the elite guys that were there helping run things and
Uh,
it was just you just feel good leaving there, you know, and you just have so much fun there. It's an incredible event. So do not miss it.
no, I
We'll
am
be there.
excited for that one. We're gonna have a good time as always, and it's just fun to hang out with everybody and talk fishing, talk life, do all the good things. So
Yep.
I cannot wait for that. That's going to be one of my things I look forward to every single fall.
Oh, me too. And you know it's good if I'm missing some prime rut bow hunting to come to something. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. That is kind of prime time for y'all up there, isn't it?
yeah, these are the sacrifices I'm willing to make.
Well, we are going to be very happy to have you down there.
No, it's all fun stuff. And I don't know about you, Christine, but early morning, I think I've stolen enough of your time this morning. but we sure appreciate you hopping on. And I mean, just talking about your schedule, people I'm sure are jealous of the life you live. Like, oh, you get to fish all the time. It's not all rainbows and butterflies, people. Did you hear that stacked schedule she has, back-to-back tournaments, and
A lot
it's
of
a lot of
work.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know we're thankful for it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
love it. I don't regret anything. That's for dang
No.
sure. Very,
That's
very fortunate.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, again, we appreciate your time. Congrats on your huge win and just thank you for everything that you're doing. I mean, I know that you inspire me and so many other women out there, and I say it all the time, but I feel so lucky to have you in my corner. And when I get a little text pep talk from you or anything, I'm really thankful for it. So we appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Maggie. And it takes a village to make this go forward, and we all play a very integral role. So I'm just very happy to be a part of it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do.
Absolutely, me too. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Kristine, thank you again. And make sure you tune in next month and see who we have as our special guest. Take care.